You helped destroy our religion, Judaism, by associating with fascism. You waved the white flag before Netanyahu. You waved the white flag before Israeli fascism.
We'll have the time to take questions at the end.
Your father-in-law was an Israel lobbyist. Your grandfather was an Israel lobbyist. Are you compromised by Israel? Why did you allow the Holocaust of our time to happen?
Just moments ago, Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in Foggy Bottom. That's what we call it here in Washington, D.C. That's the State Department. The neighborhood is Foggy Bottom. It's just next door to the White House. Anyway, Antony Blinken took to the podium in the briefing room to give the latest on the ceasefire deal that's still kind of tenuous right now over in Israel. And something extraordinary happened. Take a look at this.
300 reporters in Gaza were on the receiving end of your bombs. Why did you keep the bombs flowing when we had a deal in May?
Happy to address
we
questions.
all knew we had a deal. Everyone in this room knows we had a deal, Tony, and you kept the bombs flowing.
I'm happy to address
Why did you
questions when we get a
sacrifice
chance.
the rules-based order on the mantle of your commitment to Zionism?
Sorry,
Why did you
now's
allow
not
my
the time for
friends to be
questions.
massacred?
I'm
Why
sorry.
did you allow
I'm
my
happy to
friends'
address,
homes in
your
Gaza to be
questions.
destroyed when we had a
I'm
deal
sorry, I'm gonna have to ask
in May?
I'm sorry.
You helped destroy our religion,
I'm sorry.
Judaism, by associating with fascism.
We'll have the
You
time to
waved
take
the
questions.
white flag before
We'll have the time to
Netanyahu.
take questions at the end.
You waved the white flag before Israeli fascism.
We'll have the time to take questions
Your
at the end.
father-in-law was an Israel lobbyist. Your grandfather was an Israel lobbyist. Are you compromised by Israel? Why did you allow the Holocaust of our time to happen?
Thank
How
you
does
very
it
much.
feel to have your legacy
Thank you.
be genocide?
Thank you.
How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? You too, Matt. You smirk through the whole thing every day. You smirk through the genocide.
Oh, Kevin, you have picked the right clip for me to riff on. So what you just saw there was at the briefing room, and somebody with a press pass started screaming and ranting, referring to the Biden administration's strategy, such as it is in policy in Israel, as Israeli fascism. And then he claimed your father-in-law was an Israel lobbyist. Your grandfather was an Israel lobbyist. Are you compromised by Israel? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? And as he was screaming about Blinken and Biden, he was escorted out of the room. So now let me shed a little light on this, because that's not just some anonymous reporter. I'd recognize that guy from 10 miles away. His name is Max Blumenthal. Now, Max Blumenthal is he is Jewish, but he is also an anti-Israeli radical activist who has turned his entire last 10 years of his career into basically being a mouthpiece for any terror group that you can name out in the Middle East, in my opinion. I think he gets money from some of the big desert kingdoms out there who end up supporting a lot of those terror organizations, although I can't prove it. So I'm just giving you my opinion on Max Blumenthal. The guy is to call him a left-wing lunatic is not even scratching the surface. In fact, my first public moment when I first started working with Andrew Breitbart was at a CPAC conference in 2010, when Andrew and Max Blumenthal went at it in the lobby of the Marriott Hotel where CPAC was held. And I engaged with Andrew, with Max Blumenthal, because I knew he was going after James O'Keefe at the time. That's how far back my history with Max Blumenthal goes. And so now you might be wondering, Blumenthal, the guy who just heckled and interrupted the Secretary of State talking about Israel and the ceasefire deal with Hamas, Max Blumenthal, that name sounds familiar. Well, you'd be right. He is the son of Sidney Blumenthal. Sidney Blumenthal goes all the way back to the Clinton administration. Sidney Blumenthal was Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton's bagman, hatchet man, assassin, politically speaking. But Sidney Blumenthal would do whatever Bill and Hillary needed. He was their guy, and he raised Max Blumenthal in every great possible way he could. Look at Max now, all grown up in attacking Joe Biden and Antony Blinken there, screaming about anti-Zionism. What a moment. What a great way for the Biden administration to go. And by the way, my favorite thing about this entire story is that whoever's in charge of the press department over there at the State Department either is so ignorant that they have no idea who Max Blumenthal is, that they let him in the building with a press pass, or they hate Antony Blinken and Joe Biden so much that they did it on purpose. What a scene, and what a perfect ending of this guy's lamentable tenure at the State Department. Go ahead and Google all this stuff. Google Max Blumenthal with Andrew Breitbart at CPAC. Google Sidney Blumenthal. And there's stuff. In fact, didn't Sidney Blumenthal, I want to say Sidney Blumenthal tried to sue the Drudge. He sued Matt Drudge at one point, but I also think Sidney Blumenthal had some kind of run-in with the law because of campaign. In fact, I remember Sidney Blumenthal was I believe, was a lobbyist for the Libyan government, like Gaddafi, I believe. I mean, these guys have a lot of ties to the Middle East and all of the bad guys in the Middle East. And yet they come from Clinton world. Because you know what? If your money is good, we'll do the job for you. That's the Clinton way. And the apples do not fall very far from the trees.